to Spiritual Geography. I'm Joni Miller. Many years ago, when Oprah Winfrey still had her talk show, she had a discussion with an audience member about spirituality. The audience member self-described as agnostic and talked about what that meant to her, about things like love and compassion and gratitude. Oprah interrupted her and said, "I hate to tell you, honey, but you're talking about God." The audience member looked as if she wanted to spit nails because for the audience member, God clearly meant something entirely different than what Oprah meant when she said God. If you ask 5 people to define the word God, you will most likely get 5 different answers. And that's assuming people are able to define God at all. When I was younger, I had a view of God more akin to a parent. And that's actually very common because children often associate their first images of God, if they have one, with their parents. Now, my parents required us to be fairly self-sufficient, so that attribute transferred to my definition of God. So figure it out for yourself, Joni. Don't ask for help. And I felt I was supposed to earn approval from this being. As I grew up, my understanding of God was still jumbled. I had many questions about this nebulous other. Why does God need us to worship him or her or them? Why do we have to ask for what we want and need? Shouldn't an all-knowing being already know that? And why is there so much suffering if God is love? God felt apart from me, a distant being who doled out favor. The word God can have a loaded history. Sometimes there is underlying grief. A friend who is gay, who used to be religious, associated God with the ugliness he encountered from religious friends and family when he came out. For him, the word God became synonymous with judgment and pain. People are more likely to give you a description of God rather than a definition. When I've asked people who are religious to describe God, I get things like friend, confidant, father, protector, or words like peace, comfort, or care, or things that speak to the nature of God, words like creator, almighty, or omnipresent. But if I ask people who are not religious to define God, I get things like old white guy in the sky, patriarchy, oppression of women, that God is a myth or a fairy tale designed to keep people in line. Often there's a tinge of derision as they're saying it. There's also a hidden assumption that people who believe in God who are religious accept as true the non-believer's definition of God. All right, even to me that sounded a little confusing, so let me try it again with an example. Person A, with a negative view of religion, thinks people who pray to God believe that God is some sort of cosmic vending machine. Pray and God delivers you an instant boyfriend as you push the button for C8. A variant of the old white guy in the sky definition, or some sort of God as Santa Claus variation. But person B, who is religious, has a far more nuanced interpretation of God. God as a divine being to whom one can express all parts of themselves, their wants and desires, their fears. God is so integrated within their lives that it's difficult to express exactly what God means to them. So person A thinks person B is crazy for believing in a cosmic vending machine, while person B feels their sincere faith has been belittled because person A isn't seeing the complete and complex understanding person B has of God. If this was video and not just audio, I could draw a Venn diagram where the circle containing person A's definition of God and the circle containing person B's definition of God don't intersect or overlap at all. Words like God, or even words like religion or spirituality, are very individual. Those concepts are often impossible to put into words, and yet we each have some understanding of what we mean when we use the word. But we talk to others as if they share our unspoken definition, when odds are the person to whom you are speaking has a very different understanding and definition than you do. This is also true of religions. One Christian might think another Christian believes exactly how they do. And having spent years in the Christian tradition, I can tell you it doesn't matter how many years you've sat in the same pew with another person for Sunday services. If you look below the surface, there will be differences in how and what the person believes, even if they both call themselves Christian. And you don't even have to look very far. And yet the same thing is true. We talk as if everyone shares our unspoken definitions. Were we to do the hard work of defining what we think being a Christian or Muslim or atheist actually means, our definitions would undoubtedly be different. After my brother died and I started having communication with him and others, I started calling that which is divine spirit. When I say spirit, I can find the attributes that others may say are God: love, peace, comfort, care, friend, omnipresent. When I think or say God, I still have vestiges of that distant parent who wanted me to be self-sufficient and not bother them. When I use the word spirit, on the other hand, I have a different relationship to the divine, not transactional, not separate. I am a part of spirit in a way I never felt a part of God. I suspect that some people with good connotations of the word God may want to try and correct my understanding, but God is just a word. Why do I need to call the divine God? When I do a spiritual geography one-on-one session with someone, I first ask what name they prefer to call the divine. Some people get caught off guard, having never thought of this. Then the answers that come are interesting. Divine Mother, infinite intelligence, mystery, source, the universe, and also God. But using the word God becomes a personal choice and based on that person's own understanding and not a requirement. I doubt that any two people will have the exact same definition of God. the word evokes different things for different people. So, no, Oprah, your audience member was not talking about God as you understand God, but she was talking about connecting with something far greater than she is. And that connection to the divine can be life-giving, regardless of the word used to describe it. We don't understand the mysteries of the universe, but we can grow more love. Love for ourselves, love for others, and love for the infinite mystery that lays beyond our understanding. Thank you for tuning in.